Hello, I'm Dan Toppy and welcome back to another brand new Fortnite video. Today I bring you a video talking about the 5 biggest and most important updates from the Season 6 update that you really need to know about. Some of these are a bit more common like map changes, but there are a few map changes that aren't that well known around the map. They are pretty hidden and they didn't even include them in the patch notes when the update did release last week, so you really need to know about these so you can be exploring all the new parts of the map and all the changes that are around there. But there's also a few updates that you really need to know about in game so you can understand the game better and ultimately play better. So getting straight into it, you may have noticed that you haven't been able to find a load of items around the map after the Season 6 update did release. That's because 5 different items were actually removed in the Season 6 update, and if you haven't been reading any of the patch notes from this update, you may not notice which ones have been removed other than you can't find them in game very easily. So the first item that was removed were the impulse grenades. These kind of became a little bit pointless when the shockwave grenades were added into the game. They're common enough to be found quite easily in most games, so the impulse grenades weren't really needed anymore. The first weapon that was removed was a suppressed submachine gun. The next weapon was the LMG. This has been removed because not many players really like using it. It's not that much of a good weapon in the game and it isn't really that important, I don't think. Next, bounce pads were removed. These were being exploited using bounce pads and launch pads together to be able to fly even further using a launch pad. So probably taking these out, reworking them slightly, or maybe they'll keep them out of the game until they do remove another item, because there were so many items allowing you to fly through the air previously at the end of Season 5. And finally, remote explosives or C4 was removed. This was quite surprising because not long ago they did rework the C4, made it higher rarity so it wasn't found as common in game, but obviously they still weren't happy with how powerful it was. So this is probably one we will see coming back after they have made the proper changes to it to rebalance it a bit better. Next is map changes. Obviously we have the floating island that is from the centre of Loot Lake. This is now moving across the map. People are thinking that they're heading towards the corrupted areas. These are also the new parts of the map. This is where the runes were, where the cube went and created those zero gravity areas. Now we have the corrupted areas, which are just really dark, have very few materials in there. They're not really very nice places to fight. As well as that, we also have the cornfields over in Fatal Fields, which have grown. This is some really dense cover to get in, and you can sometimes find some loot in there if you do destroy it or run right through it. There's now also a haunted castle above Haunted Hills. There's not really that much loot there and I don't really think it's that great of a place to land, but it does fit with the Halloween theme that they are trying to build into the game. The other new areas that you might not know exist is that Wailing Woods has now been completely changed. All underneath the Wailing Woods is now a massive bunker. There's loads of loot down there, and around this centre bunker you do have loads of new cabins, so Wailing Woods is actually a really good place to land now. There's so much loot there just because of how many buildings and how much room there is there, and it definitely looks like they are going to working on expanding Wailing Woods in the future because there are loads of blocked up tunnels down there they could do loads of stuff with. Unfortunately, the main bunker thing, which you have been seeing for the last few seasons, hasn't opened and there's no way into that yet, so hopefully at some point they will include this into the main tunnel system so it does all start to make a little bit more sense. And finally, the hero and villain bases have changed. This is probably their way of saying that that part of the storyline is now over. The heroes and the villains don't exist anymore. Now we don't have the superhero theme, and it also makes it fit a lot better with the Halloween theme again, like I said. Next is a big weapon nerf that will affect everyone. The double barrel shotgun has now been nerfed. It was extremely overpowered. At the end of Season 5 it did way too much damage, but it's now been nerfed. It used to do 143 or 150 base damage. Obviously that was then multiplied if you were hitting a headshot with it, so it was really easy to get those one-shot headshot kills if you were really close using the double barrel shotgun. But now it has been nerfed and it now does 114 and 120 base damage, so still a lot, but because you do have to be so close to them it does mean that this doesn't happen as many times, and if you are hitting those headshots you are still doing loads of damage, so you do just want to be careful of anybody using a double barrel shotgun because it will still be really powerful and it will kill you really easily, but it just isn't quite as powerful as it used to be. In the Season 6 update we've also had some more changes to vertical audio. Vertical audio has always been quite a big issue, especially when they added in tilted towers. You could be on the ground floor and be able to hear exactly where someone was right on the top floor, and it really wouldn't make much sense. They have since improved that, but now they are improving it even more by adding some different sounds depending on whether the players are above or below you. In the patch notes, Epic said that footsteps below you will now sound a lot more echoey, a lot more like they're coming from a basement, and that footsteps will decrease in pitch the further they are below you, and will increase in pitch the higher they are above you as well. The volume of footsteps blocked by terrain, buildings, or playable structures has been slightly increased, so footsteps now harder to hear through walls, through buildings, through normal ground, and through everything other players have built, so it should be a little bit more accurate to work out where your players are based on the footsteps you can hear from them. And finally, the grappler has also had a change. Now you don't get 15 charges like you used to, you now only get 10, so this does change how viable the weapon is, especially if it has been used before, because it is like there will only be 1 or 2 left now if a player has been using it and then died, so you don't get as many uses out of it as you used to, but it is still a very useful item to pick up and use in game. But it is something to know just because it may change how valuable the weapon is to you, and you may want to take more meds or another weapon instead of taking this now, because you may want to have 15 charges and you might think 10 doesn't make it as worth it to you. But they being the 5 biggest and most important updates from the Season 6 update that you really need to know about in Fortnite Battle Royale. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure to leave it a like, subscribe if you aren't already, so you can see these videos every time there is a major update, as well as all my weekly challenge guides. If you are struggling to complete any of the Season 6 Week 1 challenges, make sure you check out my Week 1 challenge guide, which is linked on the screen now, and make sure you are subscribing, like I said, see those every single week. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.